I'm Alex Double, owner and founder of ADDC. We're a specialist consultancy and our areas of specialism are dry lining and passive fire protection.
My name's Chris Greenhoff. I'm a fire engineering manager for Skanska, and for those that don't know much about Skanska, we're across the construction industry, so we're in civils, infrastructure, buildings, also building services and building services management.
My name is Mandy Youssef. I'm Associate Fire Engineer at BB7. I work on a number of projects, high profile projects, as a typical fire engineer does, ranging from REBA 1 through to 7.
So my name's Hassan Ahmed. Been in the industry for about 15 years, architectural technician by background.
Okay.
And I suppose largely healthcare sector work, and going on 10 years now at Day Architectural.
I'm Joe Hewitt. I'm the contracts director for fire stopping and boarding at TBL Fire Protection.
There's a number of descriptors I think which are quite useful it's kind of like a mantra that we go through of what competency means to us. So first off, training, education, skills, experience and knowledge.
It's sort of understanding where your limits are, but also where you can find those people with those skills.
I think competency in general is a word that refers to having knowledge, necessary knowledge and skills as well as experiences. And that is, especially within fire engineering, is to effectively perform tasks and make informed decisions on those on your field or within your field.
For me, a competency can be broken down into 3 parts. So I call it the 3 A's, if you like.
Okay.
So the first one, accepting what you don't know.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good start.
The second one, acknowledging what you need to know.
Yeah.
And then thirdly, acting upon it.
For me, I think it depends at what stage of your sort of fire stopping career you're at and where your involvement is. As an installer, for me, competency would be the ability to read a drawing, a detail, recognising the required minutes. Is it a 60-minute wall? Is it a 30-minute wall? Being able to follow a detail.
So I think it's important that the industry shows to the world really that we've taken our responsibilities seriously, and which we have, and we're addressing those, and competency is just one of the ingredients that we need to really focus on. Obviously, in light, particularly with Grenfell, it's residential high risk buildings that. And life safety of individuals. I think that really put a big, strong focus on all of us to look to show that we are, competent at what we do, because there clearly were things that weren't right in our industry pre Grenfell. If
you look at it the other way, without competence, you open yourself up to so much risk. I'd always given examples, but if you ask me to wire your office, there's a good chance that it'll probably go wrong. It won't work. You'll be maintaining it for the rest of your time here, and I'll probably hurt myself as well on the way. So it can be dangerous not being competent.
The end goal for all of us working in this industry is to create safe spaces. And it's unachievable if you're aware of information and not willing to share it, and therefore competence is paramount in influencing your aspect of what you're trying to achieve. And if I'm aware of something, there is no benefit to me only being aware of it, because the end goal is together to create a safe space.
It's important because it sort of provides a framework for individuals and organisations to perform tasks safely. In addition to that, it builds trust amongst clients and end users, and then sort of sets up the foundation really for great working relationships with consultants and contractors alike, manufacturers as well.
I think it's important more so that it needs to be emphasised maybe at that design point, because I think sometimes, you know, especially maybe with cavity barriers or that sort of area, you know, you get your red lines drawn, dictating your compartmentation, and that's like, well, I'm out, that's me done. And then realistically, there's so much more to think about. Yeah. There's the internal facade, the external facade. Are they compatible? How do they work? So I think, again, yeah, I have to go back to it. It depends at what stage of your career or your involvement is.
Yeah.
But competency, yeah, it's really important for me.
So if someone's coming to me for guidance and advice, my other consultants doing a similar thing to us, we're on the same level, so that we all raise. It's raising the bar, isn't it? It's raising the standards, and so yeah, I think that's going to be, and I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, but I think that's for others to really decide. And then once that's in place, then it's not going to become a voluntary thing. It's going to then become a compulsory thing to demonstrate.
It's quite common that we'll be building in one area, and they come into an issue and they solve it, and a mile down the road, same project, same issue. Yeah, we need to be talking to each other, and that's just within our own business, and we're getting much better at that.
CPD, continued professional development, accreditation schemes, mentorship, knowledge sharing initiatives we discussed earlier about, you know, maybe not willing to share initiatives, collaboration like we do quite regularly, and I think we're lucky in that sense that we can bounce ideas off of each other. You know, I can email you and say, what's your thoughts? Could you assist? Additionally, mainly research and development to advance fire safety.
It starts with individuals and organisations accepting that they have those knowledge gaps or skills, experience, behaviours, and then sort of going from there. And then I think what will really help going forward is the new code of conduct that building control inspectors have now employed, which really has always been in place, but it's now being regulated through their new competency regimes.
For me in the industry, I think it should be more. There's so much detail now that it's, you know, we've long gone from bat, fill hole, walk away. You know, it's almost, we're talking millimeters in tolerances.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, it's got to a point of almost engineering. So for just to be able to say, I just put bat in a hole, you know, I think, you know, it should be introduced by whether it be the CITB or, you know, really introduced into colleges. It's such an in-depth now, and you have to have so much knowledge. And if you really want to progress, you know, I think that's the only way to get in early.
One personal experience that I think is a really good thing. So I was invited to sit on the governance group with the Passive Fire Knowledge Group, the PFKG, and that is a unique organisation in that it's brought together competing tier one contractors to all come together and sit in the same room together and effectively discuss the burning issues and problems that we all face, and to try and bring a consistency to what we do.
You're seeing more key stakeholders being involved earlier. It's still not enough, and it's probably still not early enough, but you can see the fire strategy it feels like it's gaining more weight. People are more interested. We're challenging it, and we're bringing in the manufacturers, the specialist installers, and getting round a table.
Increased awareness already is a positive within the fire engineering industry. It's driven by advancements, people like yourselves that are out there promoting good practice, explaining what good practice looks like, trying to achieve good practice.
Is people are starting to ask a lot more questions.
Yes.
You know, things that you thought you knew, it turns out you didn't actually know. And you know, we get that from staff within, we get that from consultants, clients. It's all the same, you know, at different levels.
So again, going back to the early engagement, which is really helping us out, because you know, it's M&E, it's dragging M&E along, not dragging them, maybe, not the, but educating them a little bit out of their normal scope. Because again, it is, you know, majority of the work that goes through firewalls is M&E. So I think working closely with them guys is really important.
There's fact and there's opinion, and there's an awful lot of opinion out there. Manufacturers, not necessarily yourselves, but that certainly within the drywall sector that we do a lot of work in, are continually to review and revise their guidance and recommendations. And so you have to spend, I must spend at least a good proportion of my week continually monitoring all manufacturers.
It's shifting that mindset, and we've heard about cultural change, early engagement, and I understand the challenges with cost and time.
Tend to have the you know, the word engineer after your name, and you can fix all their problems, which I mean I love having that you know, that mindset, but like you said, there are limitations and there are, you know, reams and boundaries that you must work within, because like you said, you haven't done the tests, so how can I confirm that? Yes, we can look at, you know, the proposals, etc., but unfortunately I'm not willing to say something's okay without having seen that it is actually okay.
Coming from sort of this side of the fence, it'd be good if we were in a position where we're able to speak to sales representatives with technical know-how. That's one of the challenges we do face at the moment, is where a regional sales manager might be our first point of contact. Really, you know, we've got to think on our feet. So if I'm getting in touch with a regional sales manager, I need answers there and then. I can't wait for 5 minutes, 10 minutes for them to sort of get that feedback from their technical team, because in 5 minutes, my mind's going to go somewhere else.
You're on the next.
Yes,
next issue.
I've got to do something else.
Yeah.
You know, so this is why I think industry does need to upskill in that respect.
And it is education and an understanding, and I think it's got to be driven a little bit from the main contractor, that all trades have a responsibility, especially when it comes to penetrating through firewalls. You know, it's really important. And even so, how the wall itself is constructed, you know, we can be really scrutinised by building control, independent inspectors, our own fire risk accreditation or other accreditors that are out there over a small hole, and is it tested? Can you provide all the test evidence? Can you do? When really, you know, the wall is the main fire, and there's no sort of inspection as such. So I think again, it all needs to be brought together as an understanding. It's not just your 40mm mastic seal that's going to stop the fire if the wall's not up to scratch. You know, so I think that has to be brought into, again, education.
I'm part of the governance group with the passive fire knowledge group, which I mentioned earlier. And again, so they've got 3 areas that they deal with primarily, which is education, process and testing. I sit on the testing group, so we look at the challenges in the industry of what testing's lacking, what's lacking in the test standards, and we all know, you know, that's very much the case. So that's part of our ability of demonstrating our competence.
We've expanded. We've got a dedicated fire team within Skanska, which I'm part of to provide support and guidance. So if anybody's struggling within the business, they can come and talk to us about anything. And if we don't know, and if I don't know the answer, I'll go and find someone that does know the answer.
And we cultivate a knowledge sharing initiatives, such as, you know, learning lounge, and encourage and collaborate with, you know, leading disciplines within the industry. We also like to externally offer our services in the sense that we offer CPDs externally, share different understandings and topics, and assist with our continuous growth and improvement. But regards to staying ahead of the legislation and maintaining competency within our team, we achieve this by again, CPD initiatives and participating in training events and courses.
Of course, ARB, CIAT, which is my chartered body, they have the competency frameworks which we're implementing, and then also taking on board the ASFP's new competency framework as well. So there's a bit in there for designers, so we've taken some of that and sort of got a bit of a hybrid approach going on.
Working very closely with manufacturers like yourselves, obviously are very useful, providing us with your latest tested details. Your YouTube channel is very good. We get a lot of use out of that, and it's great because they're only short snippets, so it keeps the lads' attention. We'll spread them through, so that's really good. I deal a lot with the ASFP. We tend to go to some of their meetings, keeping up to date with webinars. I think watching previous videos, I think everyone sort of touches it's continual learning. It's education. It's taking the time out of not so much just you can't be in your working day. It is a little bit of homework, if you would.
Because I've been in the industry for such a long time,
you have some contacts?
I've got some very, very good contacts that are not only other experts, but they're good friends as well. And we draw upon their experience and knowledge. We know where our limitations are. So, for example, we don't do a huge amount of work with reactive coatings, but we know people that do that work, and therefore, when those issues come up, we can provide the names and contacts to our clients who they need to go to.
First of all, I determine whether it is outside. So if I feel like it's outside, it's an opportunity. So I will go to, if it's a project related question, I'd go and see the fire strategy. So try and get back to the origin of where the questions come from, because the answer might be there. And the fire strategy will tell you how that building is being designed to comply. Approved document B, fire safety, building regulation. I will look there and the various British and European standards.
Multiple sources of information, such as industry publications, peer-reviewed journals, technical guidance documents, and consultation with subject matter experts, such as yourselves. So partnering with trusted suppliers, manufacturers. So if you're unaware of a specific detail, reaching out to that manufacturer and explaining and asking questions, the worst you're going to get is further knowledge.
In terms of sources of information, I would typically, and I'd encourage our staff to go over to IHS, where there's a plethora of British standards, BRE documents, all sorts. And if the information isn't there, then it's a case of reaching out to manufacturers. Sometimes getting that first-hand information is great.
So for us, generally, like I say, we'll try very much early engagement to procure the detail that we know is suitable for the project. If we do then come up against it, it's direct to you guys, back to you guys, or the selected manufacturer we are using. Obviously, there is other competitors out there, but it's going back to the manufacturer because, again, we need a tested detail.
Again, I'll go back to things like the passive fire knowledge group, because by bringing everyone together, hopefully you get a one voice saying this is what's needed within the industry, rather than lots of individual voices, and then that makes it something that you can say it's viable for us to do that, to go that extra mile, to do the testing that's required for the industry.
I guess to end on a positive, really, I'm seeing so much hard work from all aspects of the sector. Certainly, I've been helped with trying to roll out procedures within our organisation. The interest from my colleagues trying to make the system better, wanting to know, wanting to do better. So the attitude and the appetite is there, and it's really good to see.
You've got an idea of what you want and you've got it marked up, and you want to understand the implications of how it will work, etc. Reach out to us. We're more than happy to take a look at your design, and guide you. I think that's the most important thing. We're there to assist. There's no point you spending hours, months, days on a scheme that I could look at in a couple of minutes and say that's not a feasible design. So feasibility is your keyword, and I think that's probably the most important aspect, is get in touch with us sooner rather than later, because it will help you out in the future.
Being able to look within, and really find where you think you need to sort of increase your knowledge, and being able to do that would really sort of that would really pave the way to achieving true competency.
Yeah.
We can't rely on others to tell us what we need to learn.
No.
It's got to come from within.